This is the Margaret Graham, presented to the RNLI by an anonymous donor in 1967, and is the first lifeboat at Harwich for almost 50 years. From 1820 there were various forms of lifeboat at Harwich and Felixstowe, similar to those illustrated here, but none were altogether successful. The institution first sent a lifeboat called the Springwell to Harwich in January 1876. One of her major rescues was in February 1879 when she saved 23 men from the Liverpool bark Pathesia, aground on the Longson. When the Springwell and the tug Harwich reached the bark, the tide was too low for them to approach. But as the water rose, the lifeboat men boarded her, and the lifeboat took tow ropes from the bark to the tug. The order came to abandon ship. As the crew were being transferred to the lifeboat, which was in danger of being smashed against the side of the bark, two of the crew fell between the ship's side and the lifeboat. It was a terrible moment, but they were handed into the lifeboat uninjured. Then in 1890, the steam lifeboat, the Duke of Northumberland, was sent to Harwich. She made 13 service trips and helped save almost 50 lives before the RNLI moved her to New Brighton in 1892. Then in 1894, the second steam lifeboat came to Harwich, called the City of Glasgow. But she did not come up to expectations as an institution and was sold out of service in 1901 to be superseded by a second City of Glasgow with conventional screw propulsion. She stayed at Harwich until 1918 when she was sold and the station closed. For almost 50 years the area was covered by boats from Walton-on-Naze and Aldborough. Then in 1967 the RNLI decided to reopen Harwich Lifeboat Station with yet another type of boat, originally for a probationary period of 2 years. The Margaret Graham was named at Harwich on September the 27th, 1967, and is the fourth of 6 high-speed 44-foot lifeboats built at Lowestoft to an American Coast Guard design. She is capable of 14 knots and has an operational range of 205 miles at 12 knots. The Margaret Graham has answered 64 service calls and saved 22 lives, and brought ashore a further 10 people in need of hospitalisation up to the end of 1971. Each Sunday morning when possible, the crew meet and take her out for training of new members and to test that main engines are under full load conditions. Harwich has its own branch of the Ladies' Lifeboat Guild, which raises funds for general use for the RNLI. These are some of the men who make up the crew. They are waiting to go off on a Sunday morning exercise. Don Mudd, a fisherman. Aubrey Seaman, the building foreman. Jeff Sallows, a harbour master's assistant. Len Smith, lobster fisherman. And Peter Burwood, coxswain and full-time mechanic for the lifeboat. Another important part of the Harwich station is a fast inshore lifeboat sent to the station by the RNLI in 1965. This ILB has now been superseded by a further 2 ILBs, the latest of which is of the Zodiac class manufactured in France. When the alarm is sounded, the first 2 members to arrive change into protective clothing and life jackets, and those following get the boat out. While this is happening, someone goes to the phone nearby to obtain information from the Coast Guards. Heading out to sea as fast as conditions will permit, the ILB will reach the casualty within the shortest time possible of being launched.